Hello there, people of the internet. This is something I've been wanting in the collection for a while. This is a Snider. If you don't know what a Snider is, essentially it is one of the many breech loading conversions from muskets from back in the day when countries had a big old stockpile of muskets, but they wanted to convert them to breech loaders, and they were trying to figure out the best way. This particular one is a French musket that was converted after the French decided to go with the Chassepot rifles versus their converted muskets. So if we look at how this actually works, it works kind of like a trapdoor. We bring our hammer back, and this right here just opens up. This particular one has definitely seen a bit of wear. It doesn't quite lock in the way that it's supposed to. We got this little spring tension detent that definitely has lost its springiness. I'm going to try and bend that, see if I can get it a little bit more life. But if we look on the inside, we'll see an ejector right here, which seems to have been bypassed. I think that what is going on with this right here, this is clearly a conversion of a conversion. At some point, this Snider was converted from whatever the French did to it into a 12-gauge shotgun. And I know that because 12-gauge shotgun shell fits right there. Now, that being said, let's see if I can't get it out of here. That being said, I'm not entirely positive on what all is going on here, because we have clearly a spot for a shell right there. Like, that's not a paper cartridge, that is a shell complete with an extractor. But if we look at our Snider breech block here, that is for a cap. Like, this piece right here is for a cap. There's no firing pin. This is intended to put a cap right there and have some kind of black powder system right here. So I'm a little confused as to how exactly this works. Maybe you shove a paper cartridge in there and you got the cap right there. Maybe that was the idea behind the shotgun conversion of this rifle. I don't feel like making paper cartridges. Not only that, but paper cartridges really don't seal all that well. And this worn out old Snider already does not seal very well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of these shotgun shells. I got just a tremendous amount of old shotgun holes, and I'm essentially gonna poke the primer out and then fill it with black powder and shot like I would with like a muzzle loading shotgun. And then I'm just going to use those right there without a primer. That's just gonna be an open flash hole, so whenever I close this, I can press the, or I got the cap right there, and there's just an open hole that goes right to the back of that shell. So hopefully that will be enough to be able to set it off. Maybe if I sprinkle a couple of grains of gunpowder inside the actual track right here, just to give it a little bit more of an oomph, because that is a long way to travel for that little tiny flash hole right there. I'm not sure how reliable that's going to be. We'll try it, we'll see what happens. But this right here being the shell inside of this thing, whenever the black powder goes off, hopefully this little piece right here of the shell will expand enough to create a gas seal so I don't get a bunch of hot gas back in my face. That is the best way that I can think of to shoot this thing. I can't really think of anything better than that right there. This is clearly made for some kind of black powder system that was originally a case but no longer is. I'm betting that whoever converted this was thinking that they were going to be using paper cartridges, like I said before, but that might cause some issues. That would not be a good gas seal in the back of the gun. You'd get hot gas back in your face. Especially with how old and worn this thing is. I think that I'm definitely just going to use shotgun holes that don't have a primer inside of them, so there's a little spot for a flash hole. Maybe I'll even take a drill and I'll drill out that flash hole to be even larger. I think I'll just load this thing like I'm loading a muzzle-loading shotgun. Well, I guess I'll load these like I'm loading a muzzle-loading shotgun, and I'll just open that, take the old one out, put the new one in, close it, percussion cap on it, fire away. So that's kind of my mindset behind this. I just don't really know how this system works or how it was intended. This is not indicative of the Snider system. This is indicative of this particular shotgun conversion. So there's a lot of history behind the Snider. I'm probably going to cover the history of the Snider in a different video. This is kind of like an overlook of this particular firearm. I have been wanting a black powder shotgun for quite a while. I just am not 100% sure how I'm going to make this one work. I really hope that these shells right here, keeping the primer out and expanding that flash hole a little bit, I really hope that's enough to actually set off that black powder and we get some good results. So fingers crossed on that. I definitely got to work on getting this thing locked in. Whenever she's inside the gun, she seems pretty gosh darn locked in there, and definitely enough for black powder pressures, but we're going to see on that. Besides that, everything else functions on the gun. Pull the trigger, hammer drops. It should set off a percussion cap. I have no idea what kind of percussion caps this thing actually takes, though. I got a couple of them over here. Let me go grab one, and we'll shove it on and see what it looks like. Alright, judging by the size of this thing, I have some wing musket caps here. This says number 1081. I'd be willing to bet that these winged caps are probably what we're looking at on this thing. Da-da-da-da-da. Yep, that goes right on. So these are old school musket caps that we got right here. That is, whoo, mama. I'm not sure how easily I can find these again. Definitely not as easy as like number 10 or number 11 caps, I'm sure. So hopefully we'll be able to figure something out with this. I'll see if I can't modify some of these to work, and then I'll load them up and see what I can do here. Thanks for watching, folks. Appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below is a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you on the next episode. Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.